Hello everybody, welcome to the class of Special Theory of Relativity. Today we are going to talk about how relativity opens a portal between classical physics and quantum physics. Whatever kind of physics that you have learned till your 10th grade, 11th grade and 12th grade is known as classical physics, which includes your the basic kinematical equations, Newton's laws of motion, optics, electricity, magnetism, electromagnetism, nuclear physics. These all we have been learned during our 10 plus 2 or 10 plus 1 grades. It is known as classical physics. What quantum physics talks about is it talks about microscopic particles, unlike what we have done in classical physics, where we used to talk about higher dimension objects like a block, a train, a truck. Whereas in quantum physics, we talk about atoms and fewer versions of atoms. So let us begin by starting with the word relativity. What you have been learning about relativity is that relative, which basically means in layman terms, with respect to. With respect to what? Now, relativity is not a new phenomena to you. Relativity has been taught to you in this chapter called as kinematical equations, or it can also be taught in separate chapter as relative velocity. Now, what Sir Isaac Newton usually said, that velocity is relative. Velocity is relative. He said that velocity is relative. For example, let me take an object or a block which is at rest. Okay, no velocity, it is at rest. Let us take another block which is moving at the speed of 20 meters per second. For example, 20 meters per second. And another block which is moving at a speed of 40 meters per second. Okay, so you have the first block, you have a second block, and you have the third block. Now he said, what Isaac Newton said is that velocity is the relative quantity between these three. For example, for the first block, you will observe that if you sit on this first block, or you observe with its frame of reference, you will see that this block is moving forward with 20 meters per second. Now, let's say this third block is also 20 meters per second. Okay. So, with respect to the first block, you are observing that the second block is moving with 20 meters per second towards the right. Now, if you see the third block, if you sit on the third block or you observe from its frame of reference, you will see that the second block is not moving at all, because both of them are moving with the same velocity. So this is relative. In one inertial frame, you are observing that this block is moving, whereas in another inertial frame or in another non-accelerated frame, you are observing that this body is not moving. Now, laws of physics are same in one inertial frame and in another inertial frame. They will not change. For example, Newton's law of motion or velocity is applicable in both the first frame as well as the third frame, because they are moving with constant velocity, right? Now, for example, I bring electricity in here, some concepts of electricity in here. They will stay true in first frame of reference as well as the second frame of reference, as well as the third frame of reference, because they are moving with constant velocity. This is what Newton said. The problem is, what Einstein said is that if this is happening with objects in our day-to-day life, like a truck, block, why cannot it happen with light? For example, if just assume that light, as we know that light is a wave as well as a particle. So let's assume it is a particle right now, and instead of this block, the light was at rest, and here the particle of light is moving with 20 meters per second, and in another frame of reference, it is moving with 20 meters per second. Can relativity be also observed in this frame of reference with respect to light? So this is what Newton got confused, and there is what another scientist was there. His name was Sir James Clerk Maxwell. James Clerk Maxwell. Another scientist of very much later after Newton, years later after Newton and with Albert Einstein, Sir James Clerk Maxwell, who said that no matter in whichever frame I go, I will observe that light always moves with a constant speed. Light always moves with a constant speed. Light always moves with a constant speed of 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meters per second. Or to be more precise, it is 299,792,548 meters per second. Now this holds true whether you go in Jupiter, whether you go on Mars, whether you go in Africa. This is going to be the same. Now Sir Albert Einstein was confused. If this is constant and this is applicable only for higher dimension bodies, why is light an exception? Are you getting the feel of it? Why is light an exception if the speed of light is constant, no matter I move the particle with 20 meters per second or 30 meters per second, whatever, speed of light is always constant, but relativity as in explained by Newton. Relativity as explained by Newton is only applicable for higher mass objects and not for massless objects like light, right? This is what Einstein said. So this brings us to the first part of relativity, and now we get into the core concepts of relativity. We'll get into the mathematical part of relativity. We'll talk about in what aspects is relativity true, like relativity is observed in length, it is observed in time. That's why the thing called time dilation exists. It is also observed in simultaneity, like for example, two events are simultaneous to you, then they are not simultaneous to another person who is in another inertial frame moving with velocity respectively. We'll talk about that later. And then we are going to talk about how Lorentz was able to transform your kinematical equations given by Newton into relativity equations. That is, he devised such equations or such formulas using your basic kinematical equations to say that these formulas are also valid for objects which are moving closer to the speed of light. Okay, so that is how Lorentz explained it. Then we are going to talk about Lorentz transformation. We will talk about how Einstein himself got into the idea of relativity. How did he get it? It is a very interesting story further. So this 4 to 5 lecture series are going to include that. And now we will talk about what exactly is relativity, how Albert Einstein defined it. Terminology is that relativity. I hope this is visible. Relativity is the study which talks about events. Okay, events. What is event? You know, any happening, any cause. So, what does it talk exactly about an event? It talks where and when do they occur? Where and when do they occur? So it is a study which talks about events, where and when do they occur, and by what space and time coordinates do two events, and by what space and time coordinates do two events differ. Okay, I'll explain the latter part of it. So, relativity is a study which talks about events, where and when do they occur, and by what space and time coordinates do two events differ. Now, the latter part of it, which talks about space and time coordinates. Quick question before that, try to answer it, is that what kind of world are we living in? What kind of world are we living in? Are we living in a three-dimensional world or are we living in a four-dimensional world? So most of you might have answered that we are living in a three-dimensional world. I would say it is partially correct. We are living exactly in a four-dimensional world where three dimensions are given by the space coordinates and one dimension is given by the time coordinate. Now, what is space coordinates? You all might have realized that in our 10+2 classes there was this thing called x-axis, y-axis, x-axis, y-axis, or let it be x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. These are three coordinate axes which you can independently set up anywhere. For example, this room where I am teaching you, this has to be the x-axis. If this has to be the x-axis and this has to be the y-axis, which is on my top, then this has to be the z-axis. Cross. There is the cross rule that x cross y is always z. X cross y is always z. Or you might have learned it as I cap cross j cap. This k cap, right? This is in the vector form. This is in the kind of R convenience form. So x, y, z, x, y, z. These are the three coordinates which are known as the space coordinates. We are living in a three-dimensional world. Okay, but we are living in a three-dimensional world in which you are defining the dimensions as the space coordinates. You have never taken time into consideration. You have never taken time into consideration. For example, I need to say that let us meet tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. at the coffee shop near the street. Let us meet tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. at the coffee shop near the street. Now, what have I done? I have given you the exact location of any place. For example, the coffee shop. Now, it will sound absurd if I say that let us meet at the coffee shop tomorrow. At what time? You will say at what time. For example, I will say let us meet tomorrow at 5:30. Where? You will say where. So that is the reason why we need to define four coordinates. The three are your space coordinates, x coordinate, y coordinate, z coordinate. These are your space coordinates. And another coordinate is known as your time coordinate. So space coordinates, there are three, plus time coordinate, that is one. So that's why we are living in a four-dimensional world, right? Time was not given a dimension by Sir Isaac Newton. Fortunately, Albert Einstein told that time should also be taken into consideration. Okay. Can there be, another follow-up question, can there be more than four dimensions? So the answer to that is yes, there can be more than four dimensions. For example, space coordinates. Now, what we know is that x, y, and z coordinates, but in any other hypothetical space, there can also be four coordinates of the space plus one time coordinate. So there can also be a five-dimensional world. Right? There are objects which are known to be four-dimensional and having a time coordinate as well. So that makes it five-dimensional coordinate system or five-dimensional world. So this was a brief idea about space coordinates and time coordinates. Let me just give you a gist of what we are going to do afterwards. We already proved that space coordinates and time coordinates entangle with each other.